Who are some of the dumbest criminals out there? Let's find out, starting with number 6. Let's bring him back. A wealthy Florida man fell victim to a daring robbery orchestrated by 2 women he had brought back to his Broward County townhouse. The unidentified man's choice to invite the 2 women he met at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino back to his house probably wasn't his best decision. The women ended up stealing his shoes, his gun, and his diamond-encrusted Rolex. 2 of these things he probably should have kept a much better eye on. The prize of the heist was no doubt the Rolex, which was worth about $25,000. This intricately designed timepiece held not only a significant monetary value, but was also a great way for the guy to show off that he has a lot of money. It makes you wonder if the watch is what attracted the attention of the women who chose to rob him. There's a bunch of clear footage from the casino on the man meeting these 2 elegant ladies at the bar around 3 a.m. He'd exchanged numbers with one of them and then ended up meeting with them again about an hour later. So now it's 4 a.m. and he decides to take these 2 complete strangers back to his place to attempt to have a nice time. He probably was going to play board games or something. So they get back to his place and he falls asleep. The women were probably all disappointed they couldn't show off their Monopoly skills, so they decided to steal his stuff instead. When the guy woke up the next morning, his watch, shoes, firearm, and his platinum Amex had been taken. And sadly, the 2 refined ladies were nowhere to be seen. So the guy texted whichever one of them he called before, asking for them to just return his stuff. He was ignored because, of course he was. He picked up 2 chicks in a casino bar at 3 a.m. and nothing good ever happens after 3 a.m. But for some reason, he waits until 5 p.m. that night to file a police report. He probably didn't want to call the cops because he was hoping true love would prevail. It did not. So now police have loads of footage of these 2 queens along with one of their cell numbers, and they have his credit card that if they use, he will know where they are. No doubt those women shouldn't have done what they did, and they were stupid for stealing from this guy since they were on camera and he has their cell number. But really, when you meet 2 women in a bar at 3 a.m. and you bring them back to your place and then go to sleep, you're kind of asking to be ripped off. Who's at fault here? Let us know in the comments below. Number 5. Just my account, please. McRoberts Williams, whose first sounds like his last name and probably confused all of his teachers, found himself in police custody following a bank robbery. Williams targeted a Wells Fargo Bank in Wilmington, Delaware, where he approached a young teller, handed her a note demanding $150, and explained it was a robbery. As the new hundredaire fled the bank on foot, he began to wonder where he should stash his stack of bills. He didn't want anyone to steal it, so he stopped at a nearby ATM and deposited the stolen money right into his own bank account. Williams' behavior may seem like there's some underlying issues, but he later disclosed to the police that his mind was actually being controlled by an external force through an implant in his body. Such statements obviously point towards some mental health struggles that might have contributed to his actions. During the robbery, Williams apologized to the bank teller after handing her the robbery note. As he walked out a little bit richer, she triggered the silent alarm. The police quickly arrived and the chase ended with Williams hiding behind a nearby shopping center where local troopers eventually located and apprehended him. Despite not immediately recovering the stolen money, police did find a Wells Fargo bank card in Williams' possession. McRoberts Williams was charged with second-degree robbery, and his arrest came with a $6,000 cash bond. The teller must have been so confused when Williams was demanding such a small amount. She was probably like, "Are you sure you don't want more? That's it?" Usually robbers ask for all of the money. Then she goes into autopilot. How did you want that? Large bills? Thank you for choosing Wells Fargo. Number 4. Fire Festival of Pizza. Ishmael Ossaker, the mastermind behind what has been dubbed the Fire Festival of Pizza, referencing the infamous Fire Festival scandal, Ossaker essentially planned a whole pizza party and ended up ripping a bunch of people off in the process. Promising an extravagant celebration of pizza, a truly noble food worthy of its own festival, the idea held an enticing appeal for pizza enthusiasts, which is basically everyone. The festival promised a delectable array of dough, cheese, and toppings, but the actual experience ended up being far far from what was promised. Attendees who had eagerly purchased tickets, with prices soaring as high as $75, were disappointed when they were handed tiny little slivers of pizza. You know the ones we're talking about too, because there's always that one last piece in the box that no one wants and gets all stale really fast. It's usually given to the youngest child who won't care or the least popular person in the room. Not only were the pizza slices way too small, but apparently they tasted awful as well. The mismatch between what was advertised and what was delivered made a whole lot of pizza partiers very unhappy. The festival itself was also plagued by an air of inadequacy. Empty tents and a lack of vendors contributed to a sense of hollowness that permeated the gathering. Adding further fuel to the fire, Ossaker's team resorted to posting excuses on Facebook, blaming pizza delivery delays for the pathetic offerings, and even suggested a makeup sampling to placate the disgruntled attendees. The New York City Pizza Festival wasn't Ossaker's first venture into organizing scam festivals either. A similar pattern had unfolded with his African Food Festival the previous year, where attendees were shortchanged as the event grossly underdelivered what was promised. And to make the pizza festival an even bigger disaster, Ossaker had also scheduled a simultaneous hamburger festival dubbed Burger Fest, honoring the second most noble food in the exact same place. It's like Ossaker was like, well, this first food festival crashed and burned, so how can I do worse the second time? Oh, I know, I'll put on 2 of them. As the day went on and more people were furious, Hangry Garden, the event curation company, became a focal point of blame. Hangry Garden was accused of causing delays and being responsible for the festival's shortcomings. However, Hangry Garden's co-founder, Jeremy Asghari, wasn't about to take the fall. He was quick to clarify that their withdrawal from the event was because of Ossaker's failure to uphold his end of the deal and his misleading them about the event's logistics. The event was such an outrageous catastrophe that the New York Attorney General's office launched an investigation into Ossaker's activities. Once he learned he was being investigated, Ossaker begrudgingly offered refunds to the attendees. But despite the mounting evidence of his wrongdoing, Ossaker still complained about negative press coverage and attempted to shift blame onto others like he's a victim. He said that certain newspapers reported without facts, quotes, or context. Ossaker was eventually issued a court order banning him from organizing events in New York and was required to pay $311,398 in restitution and penalties, with $111,198 designated for duped customers and $150,000 for the state. The only way that pizza festival could have been worse is if all they had was pineapple pizza. Pineapples have no business on pizza. Shout out if you agree. Number 3, principled embezzler. Nia Wilson, a former principal of New Mission High School in Boston, misappropriated school funds for her personal gain. She faced charges for wire fraud, revealing an elaborate scheme that saw her misusing nearly $40,000 to fund her own extravagant, all-inclusive vacations, including 2 trips to Barbados. Wilson's fraudulent activities spanned from 2006 to 2019, allowing her to rip off the school for nearly 13 years. During this time, she requested checks from the school's external fiscal agent account under the names of other people. These checks were then endorsed by Wilson herself after being deposited into her personal bank account. This practice allowed her to siphon off school funds without arousing suspicion. The former principal used her ill-gotten gains to finance 2 vacations to Barbados. But what makes her scheme a little worse is that she even had funds dispersed for her friends who came with her on these trips. Wilson's actions aren't only ethically questionable, but also unwise, given the paper trail that was left behind. She may have been able to avoid detection, but the minute someone noticed, it was game over. Her financial maneuverings and the apparent mismanagement of school funds eventually raised the red flags that ultimately led to her arrest and subsequent charges. Wilson pled guilty to her crimes and has agreed to pay restitution. At the time of this video, she also faces a maximum prison sentence of 20 years for wire fraud, along with up to 3 years of supervised release and a fine of up to $250,000. And Saturday school. Number 2, scamming the IRS while being supervised by the IRS. Matthew Meredith, a resident of St. Petersburg, got himself sentenced to 6 years in prison for for orchestrating a scheme that saw him amass a substantial fortune through false tax claims, which he then used to live an extravagant lifestyle. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Tampa said that in the span of 6 months, Meredith submitted 5 fake tax claims, seeking refunds totaling more than $170 million. Meredith's ruse first bore fruit when the IRS issued him a refund check worth $6,374,576.92 based on his fictitious claims. Meredith's newfound wealth let him buy not just one, but 6 Mercedes-Benzes totaling $843,269. And he didn't stop there, because why be low-key when you're stealing from the government? Meredith next purchased a sprawling mansion with 6,500 square feet of waterfront opulence located in St. Petersburg. He paid cash for this upscale residence, which amounted to $2.6 million. What makes Meredith's scheme even more audacious is that he did this while under federal supervision following a conviction on contraband-related charges. His criminal history didn't stop him from scamming, which started up nearly 4 years from the time of his release. With a mountain of evidence and a growing trail of extravagant purchases, Meredith pleaded guilty to theft of government property and money laundering, earning him 6 years behind bars. Why Meredith, with no legitimate proof of income, would choose to invest in real estate with cash makes almost no sense, as if it's not going to attract attention. The IRS was going to eventually catch the error, so he probably should have just hid the money, said he lost it all gambling and done some time. Not that we've thought about such things. We're just saying. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay right here for our past release for more people who make bad decisions. Number 1. A hole-in-one. Brenton Fillers, also known as the TikTok trickster, got himself arrested for theft and fraud charges across multiple states. Fillers allegedly swindled women out of money and possessions through a calculated scheme that relied on his charm and deceit. Fillers' MO involved connecting with women on TikTok, building relationships with them by showering attention and affection, and then making requests for money and other favors. Once he gained their trust, he would abruptly vanish, leaving his victims in emotional, financial distress. Fillers had been operating this con for quite some time, with a criminal history spanning over 3 decades. One of his victims, a woman known only as Trisha, shared her experience. She first encountered Fillers on TikTok, where he went by the alias Jason Mitchell. After connecting, he managed to manipulate her emotions and eventually convinced her to pick him up from the airport in Mobile, Alabama. He was already with another woman driving to Texas after she had loaned him $1,000 to help deal with some supposed issues with the IRS. Somehow, he ended up leaving the woman, stealing all of her cash and credit cards in the process, and getting in contact with Trisha, asking her to pick him up at the airport. After spending a few days with Trisha, he said he was going to take her car to the shop for her, and never came back. Fillers' vanity became his downfall. He was posting pictures of himself proudly displaying trophies from golf tournaments in Texas that attracted attention from law enforcement. Chief John Barber of the Spanish Fort Police Department explained that it was these photographs that allowed them to arrest him. Authorities were able to track him down at the University of Kentucky hospital where he was seeking treatment, calling one of his victims and telling her the name of his doctor. Police confirmed his identity from the golf pictures, his location from the victim, and kaboom, he was arrested. Fillers now faces charges in multiple states, including theft of property in Alabama, felony fraud use of a credit card in Arkansas, and theft of a motor vehicle in Tennessee. His victims and the public are reminded dangers lurking in the world of social media. Brandon, if you're running scams, you probably shouldn't be proudly posting pictures of yourself all over the place winning golf tournaments, or just being a generally terrible person.
What's the worst thing that can happen when people post things on social media? Would it be getting the police's attention, like what happened to rapper Fredo and big-time scammer Valesky Barossi? Or would it be getting robbed for an expensive watch, like Parik Jamal? Let's get right to it. Number 5. Lifestyle Guru. Parik Jamal is a French lifestyle influencer known for his cryptocurrency expertise. He has a master's degree in applied mathematics and knows 4 languages: English, Chinese, French, and Spanish. He lives in Hong Kong with his Australian model wife, Sarah Watts. Together, they enjoy a life full of caviar and champagne. In 2019, he founded the online banking site Hi, with more than 30,000 loyal Instagram followers. Hi touts itself as a one-stop shop for cryptocurrency exchange and mobile banking. Jamo has thousands of followers and uses his influence and wealth to travel around the world in style, showing off the expensive accessories he brings with him. In December 2021, he made a post with his arm around his wife at a swanky Hong Kong restaurant with a Richard Mille watch on his wrist. A Richard Mille watch can cost up to $1 million. Stars like Kanye West, Ed Sheeran, Chris Brown, and many others often don Richard Milles. The company also has celebrity partners like Pharrell, golfer Bubba Watson, and actor John Malkovich. In the photo, Jamo wore a Richard Mille RM022 Aerodyne dual time zone watch. It's made of material originally developed by NASA to be used on supersonic aircraft wings. The watch definitely isn't cheap. Jamo's watch comes with a six-figure price tag of $530,000. So, when one of his followers saw him wearing it on social media, Jamo seemed like the perfect target. In March 2022, Jamo and his wife were visiting New York City. It was Friday morning and they were coming home from the Sapphire 39 Adult Entertainment Club. They got out of the Uber at their Midtown hotel when a man came up to Jamo and demanded his watch. Before he could answer, the man shot him 6 times in the legs and lower body. Jamo fell to the ground as his attacker tried to remove the watch from his arm. But Watch jumped on the man's back before he could take anything. The gunman fled, leaving Jamo bleeding on the city sidewalk. An ambulance came to take Jamo to Bellevue Hospital, and police recovered 5 shell casings from the crime scene. A surveillance video showed the suspect going into a porta potty to change clothing and then re-emerging a few seconds later. He walked north on Lexington Avenue and dropped a dark-colored bundle, possibly blood-spattered clothing, in the trash. Another person came by a few minutes later to take the pile. According to the NYPD, the suspect fled with an unknown female accomplice in a black 4-door BMW. This is all the evidence police have to go on. No one has been arrested or charged with shooting Jamo. Jamo doesn't think his social media was to blame. Instead, he thinks someone knew that he had the watch and followed him to his Manhattan hotel to find the perfect time to strike. Number 4. Funky Friday. Fredo is a hip-hop star known for his hit single, Funky Friday, which hit number 1 on the charts in 2018. His mixtape, Tables Turn, made it into the top 10 charts. Fredo, whose real name is Marvin Bailey, is from London and references his tough upbringing in his music. Fredo told the media that he was once stabbed 4 times, but he hasn't just been the victim. He spent time in prison in 2016 and 2017 for knife-related charges. He's now known for his social media posts bragging about his private jets, wads of cash, bikini-clad women, and harried shopping sprees. But Fredo challenged this reputation, saying he'd rather use his money to get friends out of prison than flex his cash on material things. That didn't seem like the case, though, when Fredo posted a Snapchat of him strapping a seatbelt across 50,000 pounds back in October of 2019. Just a few minutes after posting the video, undercover police arrested Fredo, believing he had stolen property. Fredo and a friend were driving through London's jewelry district, Hatton Gardens, when police approached his Range Rover and asked to search it. Police seized a knife and wads of cash to put in an evidence container. Fredo's passenger was also arrested on suspicion of possessing a weapon, theft, and threatening the cops. Number 3. Spoiled kids. Jenny Ambula is a Colombian-born, Miami-based, self-proclaimed media influencer whose Instagram, when it was up, was full of flashy status items. She showed up to class in a Porsche, wearing designer clothes, jewelry, and bags from Chanel, Dior, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and Dolce & Gabbana. Ambula posted about how she uses her stacks of cash to buy shopping bags full of designer clothes and accessories. She's quite the jet-setter, posing for photos in Paris, relaxing in Milan, and Ibiza, and buying VIP passes to Coachella. According to Ambula, she's a self-made woman with incredible business acumen and a large social media following. This might be a bit of a stretch, considering she only had 11,000 Instagram followers at the time. Little did Ambula know that people were keeping close tabs on her and her family. The last straw was when Ambula posted a picture flaunting her Porsche Cayenne and a bright red Lamborghini. While many of her followers hit the like button, she also caught unwanted attention attention from the Colombian Federal Police. Ambula's father, Omar Ambula, was a port inspector in Colombia for 27 years with a modest monthly salary of $3,000. His daughter moved to Miami in October 2013 to attend the University of Miami and get a bachelor's degree in finance. But Colombian investigators were suspicious. They discovered that her father, Omar, was funding her lifestyle and expensive college tuition. Further investigation revealed that he accepted more than $600,000 in bribes, probably millions more, for allowing untaxed items to pass through Colombia's Buenaventura port. When Colombian police suggested that Jenny's life was funded by her daddy's dirty money, she denied it, arguing that she was a self-made woman who made her own money as a YouTube content creator and social media influencer. The Globetrotters' grand plans came to a screeching halt in 2019. Ambula was on vacation in her home country when Colombian police arrested her and her parents in connection to her father's money laundering schemes. After the video of Ambula being detained in a Gucci shirt went viral, she made her Instagram private and deleted her lifestyle website. Ambula was allowed to stay on house arrest while her parents were sent to Colombian jail. The moral of the story? Don't boast about designer bags and luxury cars if you bought them with money from international cargo bribes. Number 2. The American Dream. Valesky Barossi came to America from Haiti with big dreams. Starting out, he couldn't even afford clothes at Walmart or the McDonald's dollar menu. He started working at the Michigan-based financial literacy and credit score repair business, Financial Education Services. From there, his career took off. By January 2020, the company named Barossi as one of the top 10 leaders to watch closely in 2020. He came to America as a Haitian immigrant with nothing but the shirt on his back. He was a real success story and a testament to the American dream. With hard work, he became the youngest executive vice president in the company's history and the first ever employee to do more than $6 million in sales. He started his own company and became president of V. Barossi Solutions, Inc. But by January 2022, everyone found out it was all a scam. In March 2020, as businesses began to struggle in the COVID-stricken economy, the government offered emergency financial assistance to companies and their employees. Congress approved over $650 billion in forgivable loan packages. Barossi saw this as an opportunity to get rich quick. This Fort Lauderdale resident wasn't the only one to participate in such scams. South Florida led the nation in fraud during the financial crime wave of the COVID pandemic. One businessman bought a $318,000 Lamborghini with PPP money, and a nurse lied about his business to lease a Mercedes-Benz and make a $475,000 child support payout. A North Miami couple claimed to be farmers to reap $1 million in benefits. There was so much financial fraud during the pandemic that the government created a specially dedicated COVID-19 fraud enforcement task group in 2021 to uncover relief fund fraud. They eventually tracked down Barossi, who scammed the government out of $4.2 million in PPP money meant to go to employees and businesses who were genuinely struggling. Barossi and some of his employees filed fraudulent loan applications that lied about the company's expenses, net profit, and IRS tax forms to request more than $4 million from the U.S. government. He received about $2.1 million. To go along with his American Dream success story, Barossi posted on social media about his luxurious life and his so-called hard work. He broadcasted photos of himself draped in Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and Chanel, with captions like, "From homeless to high-rise sky view," and "You don't have to be great to get started. Get started to be great." He also loved to show off his Lamborghinis and Rolex watches. He self-published biographies online where he called himself a seven-figure entrepreneur, an NFT creator, and an expert in marketing and e-commerce. The COVID-19 Fraud Enforcement Task Group started getting suspicious, and the Secret Service conducted an investigation. They eventually charged Barossi with 5 counts of wire fraud, 3 counts of money laundering, and 1 count of aggravated identity theft. Barossi was supposed to stand trial, but was exposed to COVID-19 in jail and almost had to spend an extra 2 weeks there in quarantine. But his attorneys fought for him to get out on a $200,000 bond. If convicted of his slew of charges, he faces up to 132 years behind bars. Number 1. Dumb Deals. Braden Garza was your average 18-year-old high school senior, but he had more money than most of his peers. He posted on his Instagram with stacks of hundreds and 20s, which made Scappoose Police Chief Norm Miller suspicious. Investigators found that Braden wasn't just your average teen working overtime at the grocery store. He was actually conducting thousands of dollars worth of deals over Snapchat. Even though weed is legal in Oregon, It's only legal for individuals 21 and over, and there are strict limits about where it comes from. The then 18-year-old Garza was using Snapchat to send images of his products, communicate with customers, and conduct sales transactions. Police arrested him on charges of unlawful delivery and possession. The same day, police served a search warrant at his home and incidentally found more than just Garza's stash, but they found his roommate's stash too. As soon as Garza was released on bail, he hopped back on social media to announce his support for Trump, whom he had hoped would have forgiven him of his charges. He talked about the negative attention he was getting for his infamous social media posts, but he seemed to enjoy the attention. According to Garza, he has his MAGA hat to thank.
Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comment section what superpower you'd rather have. Ability to not care about what other people think, or ability to read minds.